Welcome, everyone, to another great episode of Tea Time with Tommy. Ladies and gentlemen, this man needs no introduction. Speedball Mike Bailey, professional independent wrestler, is here. Thank you so much, Speedball, for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you so much. Let's get right into it, Mike, or Speedball. Let's get right into it.
Yeah.
First question is, where did you get the nickname Speedball?
So in my early days, I worked for a company in Montreal called the IWS, where I still work, and there was a wrestling writer named Michael Lackle Ryan, who described my wrestling style as bouncing around the ring like a speedball. So I liked it. I thought it had a great sound. I thought it was a little bit unclear what it meant, which is perfect. And Michael Ryan has since passed away, so I will be keeping that nickname hopefully forever.
Absolutely.
Oh, God bless him. Yeah. Hey, Speedball. What is your most memorable match that you can think of that stood out to you the most in your career? I know he had a lot of matches in your career. What is the one that most stood out for you?
So that's a tough question because it'll feel, by answering it decisively, I'll feel like I'm missing out on so many matches. But I had a singles match as part of the King of DDT tournament. I think it was in 2018 with my tag team partner in the Moonlight Express, Mao. And so we'd been teaming together for a year at this point. I think this was like right before our first DDT KOD tag title win, and we just had an all-out crazy singles match. Like, it was advertised as being crazy because that's both our styles, and I like to think it delivered. Like, of course, Mao was my tag team partner, and we have great chemistry together, and that just turned into a really, really great singles match. So that sticks out to me as one of the most fun matches I've ever had.
It's amazing.
Awesome.
So Speedball, I know when I watch your wrestling style, it's definitely entertaining and different than traditional wrestling with your Taekwondo techniques. So do you find your Taekwondo has advantages or disadvantages versus traditional wrestling styles when you're in the ring?
I mean, so when I credit people that trained me for pro wrestling, I have to credit my Taekwondo coach just as much as anyone else who helped me, because that's really, like, Taekwondo is my base. Taekwondo is how I started, like, learning how to fight, and it's with me in everything I do. And I'm very, very happy that it's turned out different and it's made me different. And I think it's a very important, using my Taekwondo wrestling is a very important way to contrast my style from what you see as more traditional wrestling. And that's really what I like to do, is to show the contrast of styles in pro wrestling, and I like to focus on my Taekwondo in order to do that. And I think my mix of Taekwondo and high flying works very well against like stronger grappler guys, and I think that contrast always makes for really great matches.
It's a breath of fresh air when you're watching. It's like, hey, here's an original match, so it freshens up the card in terms of the entertainment.
Yeah, that's really what I go for. Like, if there's one thing that's important for young wrestlers to know, there is that you need to focus on your strengths. If you're good at something, then you should definitely try to highlight it and not try to like hide it and blend into the pro wrestling. It'll just, if you do something different, then please lean into that and show it as much as you can.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Absolutely. I have to ask you, Speedball, like, if you were in a fatal four-way and you could compete against three other wrestlers in that match, the fatal four-way, wrestling history, which three wrestlers would you choose in that fatal four-way?
Yes. So that's a pretty hard question. So I'm going to go number one with the person who I credit as my favorite wrestler of all time, and that's Satoru Sayama, Tiger Mask 1, because he really created the style of martial arts and high flying and wrestling that works for smaller guys that I do and that I've enjoyed over anything else watching. So that would be one. And then the second person I'd like to see in that match is John Cena. because he'll be one of the biggest all-time draws in pro wrestling. And if John Cena is involved in our Fatal 4-Way, then I'm pretty sure people are going to tune in. And then lastly, the person who I probably credit as, if not being the greatest wrestler in the world right now, easily having the greatest matches, and that's Kenny Omega.
Yes.
Who's, someone I wrestled once long ago in PWG, and I credit wrestling him with really making me realize like how there's levels to pro wrestling, and like there are ways in which I can step my game up that are pretty obvious. And I think having him in that match would really ensure that the match is really something special.
Amazing choices, Speedball.
Thank you.
That's great. Going forward down the road, do you have like a major wrestling promotion you would like to see yourself compete in?
What's important to me is having the greatest matches possible and reaching the widest audience I can, and really, with my wrestling, making as many people as possible happy and making as much of a difference as I can. And it really doesn't matter to me where that happens. I know, wrestling is, of course, a passion of mine, and my goal is to take it as far as I can. So if that happens to be with one of the bigger companies out there, then great. If it doesn't, and I have to keep traveling the world and wrestling for independently, then I'm okay with that too.
Excellent.
Nice.
And I was just going to say, it's definitely different with the COVID-19 pandemic, and I know that the wrestling schedule is probably maybe non-existent or limited to some extent right now. So what is your current upcoming schedule look like, or do you have upcoming plans in the next few months that you're currently scheduled to wrestle for?
So obviously, like a lot of the bookings I used to have were international, and it's still going to take probably a long time before that starts being a possibility again. Like traveling is currently very difficult. I've been really focused on training just as hard as I can, usually twice a day, martial arts and just conditioning for the past 2 months. I've also been teaching at the IWS Wrestling School in Montreal. So I really, really enjoy teaching. We've been doing classes still with social distancing, but I feel like they've been still productive in terms of like understanding wrestling and movement and all that. And my current short-term goal is that when wrestling is possible again, then I can take all the students and get them to have really good matches, and we can get that to grow.
Excellent. It's good that you're still able to have some sort of lessons or schooling going on during the pandemic, which is a great thing to hear.
I'm really glad. We're doing our best to keep everyone safe, but I'm glad at least we're still able to do something and keep people interested and keep people learning.
Absolutely. And just want to say thank you so much, Speedball, for taking the time of your busy schedule to join us on Tea Time. Before you go, would you like to tell the audience how they can follow you on social media?
Yep, I'm at Speedball Bailey on Twitter and on Instagram. So please go and follow me there. But the most important thing you can do is please go on YouTube, if that's the quickest way for you to find it. I also have plenty of matches available on the DDT Universe and on the independentwrestling.tv. But I have lots of matches on YouTube featuring ones with me and guys like Will Ospreay and Keith Lee that you can find, which are some that people typically enjoy, and watch them and share them and let your friends know that you enjoy pro wrestling and that you enjoy my work. And when the time comes and it's a possibility again, please come support us at live shows.
Absolutely, Speedball. Definitely will come support. Guys, check this guy out. He's an amazing wrestler, up and coming. And thank you, Speedball, for joining us. Just hang on tight. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for another great episode of Tea Time with Tommy. I love that teacup, Speedball.
No clue that was a teacup at first. Definitely unique.
It's a big one.
Take care, everyone. Have a good one, guys.
Take care.